NordVal, and AOAC PTM. So I will present the study data in a way that helps deepen the understanding of the validation schemes and statistical methods applied. Just briefly, EPYMR is a ready-to-use culture media for the rapid enumeration of Eastern modes, giving results in 2 to 3 days. And it is simple because it doesn't need a splitter, and it is compact, and colonies can be counted with a software. And this is a validation scope, and since MicroVal is a category-based validation, 7 categories were selected to validate for a broad range of foods in both low and high water activity foods. And 2 additional categories were also included. And when it comes to AOAC, it is item-based, so 2 items from each MicroVal category, MicroVal category was selected. And the validated incubation time was 48 hours, either of 48 hours or 72 hours. And for the reference method, the relevant ISO and BAM chapter were referred to. Since both methods use DRBC plate for higher water activity foods and DG18 plates for low water activity foods, and incubating conditions are basically the same. The validation of MicroVal and AOAC were performed in a harmonized manner. And this is the study design, and MicroVal consists of 4 studies, and AOAC consists of 5 studies. And since 2 of them are analogous in each validation scheme, they were done at the same time. And I cannot cover all of them today because of time limitation, but I will cover the studies which were written in bold. So the first one is relative trueness. In this study, 15 items per category were tested, which led to 135 items in total with 9 categories. And each item was tested without replicates. And when we look at the scatter plots of 72 hours, a strong correlation was observed with a correlation like the x-axis is the reference method and y-axis is the EPYMR, and the correlation coefficient was 0.991. And the data were also represented in Bland Altman, which is suited for the intuitive understanding of the agreement between the methods. And with the mean value of the 2 methods of x-axis and the difference on the y-axis, although any criteria it has not been established in ISO so far, but a good agreement was observed with a bias or the average difference minus 0.06 and 95% limits of agreement ranging from minus 0.5 to 0.37. And that was the results of 72 hours. And for categories of fruits and vegetables, multi-components, and environmental samples, a good agreement was also observed at 48 hours. And the second study is the accuracy study, which is analogous to the AOAC's matrix study. And in this study, 2 items per category were tested, which led to 18 items in total with 9 categories. And each item was tested at 3 different contamination levels and it was done with 5 replicates. And although the study experimental design basically is the same on MicroVal and AOAC side, the statistical methods applied are different. Let me explain taking multi-component category as an example. This category consists of pizza and salad, and each are plotted in green and orange respectively, and x-axis is a reference method and y-axis is a bias or the average difference. And in MicroVal, beta ETI is used, whereas in AOAC, confidence interval is used. And beta ETI is fixed as a category and tend to be wider because it uses standard deviation of alternative method, and it uses pooled and this standard deviation is pooled for the category, and it doesn't account for the pairedness of the study. Compared to this, confidence interval uses the standard deviation of the paired difference, so it accounts for the pairedness of the study. So in MicroVal and AOAC, the criteria acceptability limits are basically 0.5 log units. But in MicroVal, when the standard deviation of the reference method is more than 0.1 to 5, it is recalculated as 4 times the standard deviation of the reference method. And in this case, both beta ETI and confidence interval are within the range of the acceptability limits. And although beta ETI were omitted here, both confidence intervals and beta ETIs fell within the range of the acceptability limits for all the categories at 72 hours. And for 48 hours, for some categories or items, confidence intervals and beta ETI fell outside the range of acceptability limits. And the next study is inclusivity and exclusivity. And in inclusivity, 5 target strains were tested, and those included both xerophilic and non-xerophilic yeast and mold. And this is a summary, and one xerophilic mold, which is Euroteam Amsterdami, did not grow EPYMR at 48 hours, but it grew at 72 hours. And in exclusivity, 30 no target strains were tested. And again, this is summary. And on EPYMR, all of the non-target strains were suppressed successfully, whereas some false positives were found on the reference methods. And I will skip this one. And the last study is a robustness. And in robustness, it is evaluated whether EPYMR remain unaffected by small potential variations in method parameters. And 3 parameters were chosen, and they were sample volume and incubation temperature and incubation time, and they were varied as shown in the left table. And out of the 27 possible combinations of the parameters, 9 combinations in the left table were selected. And at each condition, each condition is tested using either of using the inocular, either of Penicillium stolidum, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, and Bacillus subtilis. And for the first 2, they were tested at 2 different contamination levels. And for the Penicillium stolidum, at lower temperature, it produces much less colonies compared to the nominal condition. And besides that, there were besides that, similar results were observed in any conditions. And for penicillium stolonum, I'm sorry, and also a three-way ANOVA were also performed. And for penicillium stolonum, with F factor, with large F factors and small p values, it can be said that temperature, time, and their interactions have a statistically significant impact on the results. Compared to this, for the Saccharomyces, either no parameters had significant impact on the results. So in conclusion, in MicroVal and NordVal and AOAC, YM-R was validated for both low and high water activity foods, and for the categories and items with stars, they were validated for 48 hours of incubation time. And YM-R showed superior selectivity. Yeah, thank you for your attention.